visit my world. Come here and visit my world. Did history, shining stars. Our love is the only way. Don't get lost, cause I'm waiting. Summer feelings are waiting, boy. You and me is more.
1, 2, 3, okay. Nice to see all of you here. Very amazing venue. Do you see it well? Hopefully, okay. So, 14 years ago, I got my first job as a programmer, and since then I've been playing different roles in the software development process. And I've been actually a software developer, I've been a Ruby developer, project manager, product manager. I've been working in startups, and I've been speaking at conferences, I've been organizing conferences, and now I'm playing the role of developer advocate at GitLab. And yeah, I'm Russian, I live in Serbia, and this talk is going to be in English. Can I ask people to put my presentation on the monitor in front of me? Thank you. So, yeah, if you were Russians, I would introduce myself differently. I would say, Меня зовут Иван Nemytchenko. And you see, it sounds different a bit because I had adapted my name for you, and it also looks different. So, but it's kind of still similar, and you can easily convert most of the letters from Cyrillic alphabet to Roman and vice versa. But there is one tricky letter that sounds also weird. It sounds U in the Russian alphabet, and yeah, it also looks pretty strange because it consists of 2 parts, and it's pretty uncommon for letters to consist of 2 parts. At this point, you should probably already asking yourself why this guy actually saying this to us. So let me explain what just happened. This circle in the middle, it represents your current knowledge and your current skills. And I just told you a bit about Russian language, and now this yellow subtle area is your understanding of Russian language. But don't worry, you will forget it in a few hours, maybe in a few days. But if you become curious about Russian language and you decide to spend like 2 more hours to learn how to read it, how to read Russian words, you will realize that you will improve your language, you will improve your knowledge, and one day, if you get to Moscow for some reason, there will be a lot of signs in Russian around you. And those signs in Russian will be real-world challenges for you to actually try to use your Russian language knowledge in practice. And if you kind of beat these problems, you develop a skill from your knowledge. And when it is a skill, it is connected to the rest of your knowledge. And when you beat more problems, the connection is stronger. And if you become really obsessed in Russian language for some reason, you start reading books and you quickly realize that there's a lot more to learn for you. And when you're reading more books and learning more, the picture of the Russian language in your mind becomes really sophisticated. You know all the rules, all the principles, and those all are connected in your mind and you understand it well. And if you're also practicing, you also have a good skills and you can use it in real world, and the connection is very strong. At some point, you might even decide to become a linguist for some reason, and this will be a level up for you. And at this new level, there will be a completely new kind and type of and size of challenges for you. But you will be able to beat them because you have a lot of knowledge now and skills. And those challenges, like reading slides in Russian, those will be not the challenges for you at all now. You will be doing it automatically, like. Finally, now let's use this knowledge and this model to explain why a diploma is not enough to get the first job as a programmer. First, let's define what is diploma. Diploma is just a paper which represents, which has a list of subjects you're supposed to know. This could be data structures, algorithms complexity, linear algebra, mathematical logic, and so on. And all those subjects should form a foundation, and you also should have a good knowledge of those subjects. And on top of this foundation, you're supposed to grow some practical skills, like operating system knowledge, ability to work with version control, databases understanding, regular expressions, and so on. All these skills are required in the companies. So now you kind of but in universities, programs are usually outdated, and you can end up learning Delphi instead of iOS development. So usually your skills are not so good to get a first job. But if you somehow manage to get a job in this situation, then the company most probably will have a problem. Because you still have to develop a lot of skills, you will do a lot of experimentation. And when you experiment, you break a lot of stuff. And you will break a lot of stuff, definitely. And to prevent you from doing it, companies should spend experienced developers' time to keep an eye on you. And this is why actually companies don't like to hire developers. They want developers to break all the stuff in some other places and learn everything, so they hire an experienced developer. So maybe they don't even need this university education, right? There's a lot of people who are self-learners who have pretty small foundation, but they are pretty quickly developing a lot of practical skills, and they're able to apply them. So as soon as you have skills and you can do something useful, there will be somebody who will hire you to do this kind of things for you. But there is a trick. If you have all those practical skills, you start to think that you are good enough to these very kind of big and scary real-world problems. Like you might decide to develop a fault-tolerant banking system in Node.js. Well, and while you'll be doing so, you'll be thinking that you are solving the problem, but actually you'll be transforming it into a set of other problems. And at some point, you will fail. And this failure will trigger you to realize that your foundation was too small and you didn't know a lot of stuff. And at this point, you start to understand that probably your understanding of object-oriented programming was not ideal. You was ignoring solid principles, you never cared about algorithms complexity, and so on. And this is how you actually learn. You make a mistake and then you learn from it. But when you're a self-learner with weak foundation, you kind of learn with a delay. So both graduates and self-learners still have a lot to learn. And Google, for this thing called Programmer Competency Matrix, it should give you a whole picture of skills which are useful and which you're supposed to know when you're getting your first job. Well, next part, how do we actually learn? Sorry. So you're at the conference, right? And I bet you are here to learn something new. And by learning something new, you want to become better at something. And by becoming better at something, you want to be paid more, right? You want to be bigger salary or get a better job or something like this. And tomorrow in the evening, your mind will look like this. So again, circle in the middle is your current knowledge, and there will be a lot of area around you which will represent the new stuff you just heard of. And this stuff will be very interesting and very shiny, and you just want to learn it all. But the trick here is that you have to choose, and you have to choose and spend some amount of time to become better at it. And when you're spending time on one topic, you will forget the rest. And this is why actually notes taken at the conferences work. If you take notes, you have something to return to. Okay, next thing, book reading. When you read a book, you can develop pretty good understanding of some subject. But this knowledge will be not very practical, and you will not be able to beat really big problems with this knowledge. You still have to fight small problems to develop this skill. Okay, and to develop some practical skills, some people consider doing pet projects. Pet project is when you have some idea and you decide to develop it with some new technology and learn the technology itself during this development. And it's a good idea, and if you're able to complete it, it's already an achievement. You have something to put in your resume. But there's a trick here that there is no one who could give you a feedback about the quality of your code and the quality of your decisions. And this is why you might end up having some delusions in your picture, in your knowledge. Another way to get to dive into some specific topic is a workshop. During a few hours, you repeat after the trainer, and you kind of jump into some tool, and you have very concentrated experience. And after a few hours, you know, and you have a feeling of the new tool, and it's really good one. But the trick here is that still, if you don't use it in your work, you will forget everything in a few weeks. And my favorite way to learn is to contribute to open source. Usually, if it is a big open source project, there's a big community, and you can learn from existing code, and you can actually see how other people are communicating, how they work with each other, and you can learn a lot from it. And the important thing, you always will get a feedback on your code. If you submit a merge request, then someone from maintainers team will review your code and will tell you what is wrong with it. And if you get feedback, you can learn from it. It is very important. You can find any issues in a big project. So you are not necessarily have to take a very big problem, and all problems you need to find perfectly sized for your problem. And if you're talking about an open source product, something like GitLab, there's another thing here. GitLab started as an open source Ruby on Rails application to host your own repository, but right now it's become very, very powerful, and there's lots of technologies in its stack, and you can start learning. You can start contributing to GitLab by doing something in Ruby, but then you also can learn something on front end. You can learn how to package Ruby on Rails application using Chef Omnibus. You can jump into CI stuff, which is written in Go. So there's lots of related technologies, and you can kind of see the whole picture. You can see how all these tools are used to serve one main purpose. It's very valuable. And as for GitLab, we are not only have our code open source. We also have our processes open source. So you can also learn a lot from it. Google for GitLab handbook, and everything about how a company works is described there and usually updated. So if I would write the picture how learning with open source looks like, it would look like this. So you're able to develop your main skill, also you're developing a lot of additional skills like teamwork, ability to work remotely, and so on. I had one more additional section about must-have skills for every junior developer, but I decided to remove it, and if you send an email to this address, you will get this additional section as well as this presentation. So now it's your turn. I will go and drink water, and you have like 20 seconds to take a piece of paper and to try to write down, try to draw all the skills you have now and all the skills you plan to learn on this conference or in the future. It's your turn. Okay. So, I believe whatever you wrote, you draw there, it should be somehow related to this thing. I believe you all want to be good developers, and some of you know about soft skills, like related to project management and more to psychology. Those are also very important. But it's not only about software development, it's not only about diploma or getting a job. There's also an important thing like hobby. And there's also an important thing like relationships. And there's another thing you should care about, it's your health. And there's another thing you all wish to have this as well, is the wealth. And all this actually about having a happy life. And I encourage you to use this knowledge not only to plan your learning skills, to plan your learning as a developer, but apply this to the whole life. With this, thank you. If you send me worth learning the subject to this email, you will get this presentation as well as additional materials, and you can follow me on Twitter, and you can also find me on a GitLab table at the hall. Thank you. If you have any questions, you're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nemytchenko, thank you very much. Would you like to take questions? Yeah?
If people have some, I would like to.
Okay. If anyone has a question, open it up to you.
Okay. I know that nobody asked questions yet, so feel free to reach me in the call. Thank you.
Wonderful. Once again.